The MLB postseason. Harper's hot and the Dodgers are not. This is Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's what he used to call getting on the good foot. Yeah. Okay, welcome. It is another episode of Locked On A's, and I am your host, Wayne Coy, athletics supporter and media dude. And it's good to have you here, especially if you're an everydayer. Kind of get used to seeing you around here. So thanks a lot for doing that. Don't forget, you can always leave your comments down below if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, you can certainly get a hold of us. Twitter is a good place to go. It's at Locked On A's. That's our Twitter or X handle. Okay, so either way, you can get a hold of us. We appreciate the feedback. Absolutely. Beginning of the show, good time to tell you that if you would like to subscribe, we're certainly not going to get in your way. The subscriptions go a long way to spreading the show. And the same thing with that like button. Just go ahead and hit that. Give us the thumbs up there if you can, so we know you're there and that you're going to be here every day, just like we are. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You know, we talk a lot about FanDuel because they make every moment more, and that's what they want you to do. In fact, right now, new customers get, this is unbelievable, but for a $5 bet, you get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. All you got to do is visit FanDuel, not Bull, FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. We'll tell you some more about them as the show goes on, but right now we'll talk playoffs, right? And the Major League Baseball postseason is kind of, depending on how you look at it, it's either breaking down exactly as you thought it would, or it's absolutely not, and all bets, speaking of, are off. Well, the Astros are doing what the Astros do, which is win 3-1. They dispose of the Twins. They're moving on to the ALCS, as are the Texas Rangers, who made short order of the Baltimore Orioles. Remember, they were my pick to kind of go all the way. Well, that's not happening. Cinderella, it's midnight, a 3-game sweep for the Rangers there. So it's all set up. It's the battle of the Lone Star State, right? Houston against Texas, which is basically Arlington or Dallas if you want. So both parts of the state there getting great attention. Center stage in the American League Championship Series. National League not quite wrapped up yet, but getting close. Those Arizona Diamondbacks, what a monolith. I don't know about all that, but the Dodgers just didn't show up. And so anybody expecting them to do what they did all regular season long, which is just beat everybody they played to a pulp, I don't know what happened to that team, but whether it was pitching or hitting, there were no Dodgers in the playoffs as far as I was concerned. It's very sad to watch, actually. But the Diamondbacks, 3-0 sweep over the Dodgers, and now they will move on to the NLCS, and they'll take on the winner of the Phillies-Braves series. Do you remember when we were talking about kind of how we thought all this would break down? And I actually went so far as to make my picks. And what I said about the Philadelphia-Atlanta series is that I felt like, anyway, if the Phillies could win one of the 2 games in Atlanta, once they got back to Philadelphia with that crowd being like they are, that is a huge home field advantage. And I just felt like they're also a team getting hot at just the right time. And it's kind of shaken out that way. Now, it's not over yet. So if you're a Braves fan, you're more than happy to say, and entitled to say, wait a second, it's not time yet. And so, the Braves, certainly we've got a little vested interest there with Sean Murphy as their catcher and their first baseman, Matt Olson. We'd like to see, I think, the Braves go deeper into the postseason, right? Or maybe not. Maybe you're falling in love with those fighting Phils. They're just playing good baseball. And they're having fun at the same time. I don't know if you caught it, but during the 5th inning, the Phillies fans in the game earlier today doing the tomahawk chop to basically taunt the Braves. And they do it pretty well, so they've obviously been paying attention. But it was all Bryce Harper. I mean, not all Bryce Harper, but a couple of home runs, some off-field stuff that had him a little ticked off, and I think he took it out on the baseball. So 2 homers for Bryce, and some great pitching. 9 strikeouts for Aaron Nola in that game a little earlier today. You know, my 2 hopes were that we were going to get like a Baltimore or Minnesota appearance in the ALCS, and unfortunately, neither of those happened. But getting back to my picks, I did pick Houston, even though I didn't want to. I figured they'd beat the Twins. I missed on the Orioles, and I certainly swung and missed on the Dodgers. But, you know, the Phillies are still absolutely in line to meet my prediction there, because I did predict that they would win. And we'll just see what happens as we move on now into the next round of playoffs. Of course, we got to get through the Phillies-Braves series first, though, and when that's all over with, then we'll know who's still standing for the next round. Now, since 2017, the Los Angeles Dodgers have won 100 or more games 5 different times. 2017, 2019, 2021, 22, and 23. Every single one of those series or seasons ended with a Dodger loss. And it was a loss of the World Series in 2017 and 2019. They lost the NLDS. It was the NLCS in 2021. 22, they lost the NLDS. And of course, this year, it's also the National League Division Series. So they're done. You might notice a trend. I got to tell you, as an A's fan, there's a part of me that's just like, okay, you see how it feels to make the postseason and have a really great season and only follow it up by laying an egg in October. And that is certainly what the Dodgers did. Starting pitching, something that the Dodgers used to really be known for. I think they didn't come into this series as strong as they would have liked in that regard. And boy, did it show up. 4 2/3 innings, period. That's all over those 3 games that the starting pitchers were able to last. 4 2/3. And in those innings, 16 hits, 13 runs, 5 home runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. That's it. And even if it wasn't the pitching, let's just say Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, Fernando Valenzuela, Don Sutton. That's your rotation, okay? Let's say, and Clayton Kershaw. Good Clayton. Let's say that's the pitching, and Trevor Bauer, sure. The Dodgers are doing what Dodgers do, which is pitch. Let's just assume that. It wouldn't have mattered, because what they didn't do is what they did all year, which is hit the ball with authority, hit the ball with power. That was nowhere to be found. In fact, the top 3 batters in the lineup, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Martinez, the 3 of them together, combined, I can't even believe this, 3 for 41, okay? 2 for 31. 2 for 31. 0 for 12 tonight. That's all that mattered. They needed to win this game tonight, and they didn't. But can you believe that? The top of the order? Going 2 for 31 in this 3-game series. Well, not a good postseason for Dodger fans. You're going to have to lick your wounds and figure out how you get past this first round of the playoffs, because that's important if you're going to come back next year. And with a lineup like that, I don't know how you can't. Speaking of lineups, why don't you make yours? Line on up with FanDuel right now. October baseball is what we're talking about today, and it's what we'll be talking about for the next couple of weeks. So with that in mind, make your postseason special, and you can do that with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel wants to give you this deal. A $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets. You know, when I first read that, I thought it was a typo, but it's not. It's guaranteed. You just place your first $5 bet and visit FanDuel.com/ this is important, /locked on to create your new account. Got to be a new customer. And then you can get in on all of the action from the very first pitch of the playoffs to the very last swing of a World Series game. They got you covered the rest of the baseball season. So do that, whether it's the strikeouts, the home runs, the innings pitched, whatever it is you want to bet on. You can even do what they call quick bets. And that is basically where you're betting on what's going to happen in the next at-bat. So you talk about activity, lots of fun, keeps you involved in the game, and that's cool. Step up to the plate this postseason. $200 in bonus bets for $5. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Well, it's not Major League Baseball. It's definitely minor league baseball. It's the AFL, and I don't mean the American Football League. I mean the Arizona Fall League. It happens every year. It's a lot of fun because you get these futures, you get these prospects, and the teams kind of come together to basically roster up I think it's 6 teams that are in the league, and every organization contributes some players. We'll go through who's there from the A's in just a minute, but we do want to tip the cap to Royber Salinas, pitcher for the A's, for the Solar Sox, who delivered a great performance during his first start of the Arizona Fall League for the A's, despite allowing 1 run. Oh, that's too bad. Salinas struck out 6 in just 3 innings of work. So way to go. That's what you want to do. Striking out people is what he's known for. And that's kind of the rap. The scouts say the guy's got strikeout stuff, and he's certainly showing that as a pitching prospect. You might remember he was the extra piece in that Sean Murphy deal with Atlanta. So they just kind of tossed him into the deal, and it'll be very interesting to see if he's able to, be a part of the rotation or part of the staff for the A's after they break spring training in 2024. We'll be watching. And that's not all that's going on in the AFL. Besides that, let's go through the roster, first of all, and the players that are from our organization. Pitchers besides the one we just spoke of here, besides Salinas, you've got Jack Perkins, you've got Stevie Emanuels, you have the 6'6" Cuban from Havana, that is Junior Tour, and Jack Weisenberger. So very well represented on the pitching side. I think that's 5, right? Yeah, we have 5 pitchers there. Infielders, we have 2. One is Brett Harris, who's got a lot going for him, as does Max Muncy, who got off to a great start with a home run in his first game and a couple of RBI. He'll be there playing shortstop for the Solar Sox. And then in the outfield, there's only one from our organization, and he is certainly worth a conversation because you may remember that he got onto our radar 7 years ago. You're like, what? And he's playing in the Arizona. Yes, he is playing in the Arizona Fall League. He was only 17 years young when he joined the A's organization. He is Lazarito. It's kind of cool when you're known by like one name, right? Lazarito is Lazaro Armenteros from Cuba, or Cuba, if you pronounce it that way. 20 homers, 82 RBIs this last season. He hit .252, which is decent. Stole 17 bases, but on the flip side, he got caught 12 times. The big issue has been, since he got here from Cuba, is that he doesn't have very good control at the plate, and his pitch selection is not where it needs to be. Let's tell you, to put it bluntly, the guy's a strikeout machine. He led all of minor league baseball with 212 the other year, and just this year he struck out 154 times. So until they can figure out how to get that under control, it's going to be hard for him to climb any higher. Now, he did get up to Double-A Midland this year, so his season was split between High-A Lansing, playing for the Lugnuts, and Double-A Midland, the Rockhounds. 7 years, though, is a long time, right? He's only 24, though. So if you're the people in the A's organization who gave this kid $3 million to sign as an international free agent, I think you're going to wait till the absolute last minute before you throw in the towel. I don't think they're ready to do that yet. I think they still see some promise. He's a guy that, like, when he came up, when he was just 17, everybody was making the Yoenis Cespedes, comparisons and saying that actually defensively he might even be better, and he's got, big bat. Well, he does, and he's still got that 5-tool potential. But again, got to cut down on the strikeouts, and we'll see if he can do that. Well, today is the anniversary of one of the saddest days in baseball history, and it certainly has an Oakland A's connection, and we get to that on this date in A's history. But we need you to know that everybody needs to be empowered to care for themselves. I'm talking to you. It's that time of year. You got colds, you got the flu, you got who knows what you got. You just want to get rid of it, and that's the main thing. So you want to make sure that you're taking the right medicine for what's really wrong with you. And you know what? Jace Medical wants to help make that happen. They've got this real cool thing. It's called the Jace case. And now that's 5 very powerful antibiotics specially chosen for what you're dealing with. You're going to talk to a professional. They're going to make sure that they get everything they need to get to be able to assess your condition. And then quickly, and that's the important thing, get that medicine to you, and they're going to deliver it to your door to give you that peace of mind that you want. Medication in an emergency. Jace Medical, making sure that you've got that medication in hand and you can start to get better. Licensed pharmacy, medication delivery, ongoing consultation. They don't just talk to you at the beginning. They're there for you through the entire thing. If you're feeling bad, you're not getting better like you hope to be, you can just reach out to them and they'll be right there, happy to help you. Don't be unprepared. In fact, you can get $20 off right now on these life-saving antibiotics, and you can get them from Jace Medical by using my code. Let me share it with you. It's Locked On, LOCKEDON, Locked On when you check out JaceMedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. Don't get sick. And if you do, feel better fast. Okay, this date in history, 1913. We're going to set the Wayback Machine for 1913. Did you notice that back then everybody talked like they were on a megaphone? I mean, I don't know if they did, but it sure seems like it because that's all we ever heard. Eddie Plank, I knew that name. Grew up, kind of hearing about those old A's, certainly well before our time, right? But they had some great pitching. They had Lefty Grove, they had Chief Bender, and they certainly had this guy. They had Rube Waddell, and they had Eddie Plank. Eddie Plank, who still to this day holds the record for most shutouts by a left-handed starter. So he's got that going for him. Eddie Plank is a baseball Hall of Famer. He threw a two-hitter on this date back in 1913. Against the New York Giants, and when he did that, that assured the A's a 3-1 victory and a World Series win in 5 games over those Giants. A's beat the Giants. Oh, yeah, we did it again in 1989, remember? Sorry, anytime I can rub that in, I rub that in. 1973, let's go back. Catfish Hunter on the mound for the A's. And, you could count on this guy when the chips were down. If you needed a win, that's the one. If you said, okay, select anybody on the staff, you get one pitcher, who's it going to be? And he was the ace of the staff. Catfish Hunter, for all those World Series years, he beats Baltimore 3-0, shutout, Game 5, 1973, ALCS. And, of course, the A's go on to take on the Mets in the World Series, and they beat them, world champions again. And in 1992, this one wasn't as pleasant. Dennis Eckersley, who saved 51 games for the A's in 92, was about as automatic as you can get. Yeah, you know where this is going. Well, he gave up a 2-run shot to Roberto Alomar, and that sent Game 4 of the ALCS into extra innings. And yeah, I probably buried the lead there, but it happened. It still hurts, though. The Blue Jays go on to win this thing by a final of 7-6 in 11 innings, and they take a 3-1 series edge, and that's all she wrote. I was there. I saw it happen. Hey, on this date in 2006, I told you we were going to talk about something sad, and I don't know that it gets any sadder than this, but it did happen on October 11th, 2006. Former Oakland A's starting pitcher Corey Lytle was killed in an unfortunate private plane accident. He was the pilot. The co-pilot that was with him died as well in New York. They were navigating, kind of got turned around, hit an apartment building, and unfortunately, Corey wasn't able to make it out of that accident. Lytle was only 34. He was a member of the New York Yankees when he died. But boy, did he give us some great memories for the A's. You might remember a great season for Corey back in 2001 when he went 13-6 and had a 3.59 ERA, which ended up being 10th in the American League. But he helped the A's win the wild card. And in August of 2002, he gave up only 1 run during the whole month. The month of August, 1 run for the whole month, which set Oakland's record for consecutive innings without an earned run. So Corey Lytle's in our record book still. He won all 5 of his starts, and he was one of the prime movers in the A's historic run. You know the streak. You saw Moneyball. And it was on this Oakland team, by the way, where Corey got his great nickname. If I was going to pick a nickname, I'd say, give me that one. Corey Lytle was known as snacks, because he was pretty much a junk food inhaler in the clubhouse. He never met a bag of chips or a candy bar he didn't like, and certainly made his mark here in Oakland and elsewhere in baseball. Definitely missed, left behind a wife and a very young daughter, and it was just sad. So we remember Corey on this date in history, and we're going to remember you when you come back here tomorrow. You're going to be ready for this? We'll get you up to date again on all the playoff action. We'll let you know what the A's have in store off the field as it relates to this potential move to Las Vegas. A couple of updates that we've been working on, and we're going to try to get you all of that for tomorrow's show. I hope you can make it. And until then, have a great night or day whenever you happen to listen to this or watch this, and we'll definitely catch you the next time right here on Locked On A's. Until then, keep on swinging.